Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. How's my people doing? How are my people doing? Let's see. We have so far the early birds ready for a great show, says Bruce Pollard. We also have AVQ. El Senor Rudnett in the house. Carl Cox says, I'm back. Missed the program for the last 2 days. Carl Cox, how dare you miss Politics Done Right 2 days in a row? Uncalled for. Unforgivable. You know I love you, Carl. I'm just playing, man. Making it fun. E2247 is in the house as well. And he says, of course, good to be back. No, that's Carl saying good to be back. But E2237 says, hello, everybody. AVQ, Egberto, Melanie. And our beautiful, our precious Yvette Avery Herod is in the house. She says, as usual, good afternoon, PDR Posse. Good afternoon, Yvette Avery Herod. How are you doing today, my beautiful lady? Melanie Keelan is in the house. La Preciosa de Barcelona, Spain. Our beauty from Barcelona, Spain is in the house. Thank you so kindly for being here. You know I cherish you all. Of course, there is Brother Hayes. Eric Hayes is in the house. Eric Hayes was trying to give me a hard time this morning, I believe, when I played the story about the cop turned professor. And you know Eric. You know Eric, but Eric, he's a good guy. All right, let's see what else we got here. Who else is in the house? Bruce Pollard says, now you can grow. Yes, I can grow because we have a good show. All right, let's see what else we got here. Melania got here first, though. Melanie Keelan was the first one in the chat, and she said, it's Friday. But you know what, guys? She should be the first one in the chat. She is 7 hours ahead of us, I believe. Right, Melanie? Is it 7 hours that you're ahead of Houston? I think. I could be wrong, but I think you're about 7 hours ahead in Houston. And with us, we have Bob Holmes. Hey, guess what, guys? Before I get started with the show, mira mis lentes. These are, remember I told you guys a story about after I got my cataract surgery done, that they were offering me these types of glasses, which is the progressive lens, which means I can see far with my glasses, I can see near as well. The far is just glass, right? Because when they changed the lens in my eyes, I suddenly could see far. I couldn't before, but I could see far. Just couldn't see a damn thing near, or rather, I couldn't read small lettering. So I had to get progressive lens so I don't have to keep taking my glasses on and off, on and off. So I got them. This is the first pair. Now I can tell you that I purchased these at iBuy Direct. I should put a link inside of in their affiliate link for somebody looking for glasses, so I can make a commission or get a few points to get another pair from these guys. Because here's the deal. It worked. This was going to cost me $800 at the clinic where I did my eye surgery. I got this for $149. Progressive lens, $149. So I'm going to look for the link when I play the next video, so that and I better cue those darn videos. I'm getting old. But anyway, so it cost me $149, and guess what? Because I left it, I tried 2 different online places. I left it in the cart, and because I left it in the cart, they made me another offer. To close out my cart, they offered me a 70% discount. So I got another pair of these glasses at another vendor for for about somewhere around $40. Around $40, folks. So my thing to you is the following. Go buy some glasses, leave it in the cart, wait a few days, and they're going to want you to close out that cart because they don't want you to leave something in that cart because a sale at a lower price is better than no sale at all. That is what they believe. That is how it is. And I learned that on the fly. I didn't know about that before. I just learned that that's something to be done, and I did it. So consider doing that. Anyway, I'll put the link in there some other time, when I get the video. Let's see. Melanie says you are at 10 p. Now I am. Okay, great. Actually 12 according to this, but we're keeping on it. It rotates. All right, let me see. Carl Cox says here today, gone tomorrow. Yeah, but you spell it with the hair. I guess you're talking about my hair. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and start reading what you guys are saying. Now you can grow. Melanie got here first. That is ABQ says. Hey, says voter suppression by your Harris County group. Polls not open on time. 119 locations. Or 15% of paper shortage, all documented by voter officials, which makes it valid. No wiggle from that. Wow. You know what? This has happened all over the place, right? You want to go to Philadelphia, you want to go to every major city. This is what we have, especially when you have shortage of poll workers because of the restrictions that the Republican legislature has instituted. Look, I've been asked to be a county judge. I've been a county assistant judge before because before Harris County went blue, the county judge, or rather the election judge, was always a Republican, followed by the assistant who was Democrat. It has flipped since we flipped the county in 2018, I believe. So now Democrats are in charge of the county, and that's why the state government is trying to take over our elections. Just be fair about what we're talking about. The elections when it was run by Republicans is no different than when it was run by Democrats. We have a big county. We don't have the investments that we need to make into reliable systems, and therein's the problem. Until we understand that and stop fooling ourselves, fallacies or misrepresentations like what you see Eric has there will become vogue. Bob Holmes says, what's up, Egberto? Michael Ronis says, Eric Hayes, save your FB video links for the end of the show. Nobody's going to switch to see them. No, they're not. They want to see us en vivo. When we say en vivo, it means they want to see us live. So, my dear brother, it won't be seen anytime soon. All right. Carl Cox is here today, gone tomorrow. Eric Hayes come back and says, so Jamie got sick from vaccine. I know. So, why is it? Why is it that you guys are so apt to listen to misinformation? There is a meme going around. I read it today that supposedly Jamie Foxx took a COVID vaccine, and he got blood clots. And after he got the blood clots, he got a stroke. That's the meme that the anti-vaxxers are putting out now. Okay, let's get some facts. My cousin was a detective in New York. He's now working as bodyguards and stuff for a lot of other celebrities, etc. But he was a detective who actually protected the commissioner of New York. Okay, and he was doing his job and as usual, and he got COVID, and in the process of getting COVID, he got blood clots that shot up to his brain, his lungs, his kidneys before the vaccine. The fact is as follows. COVID causes blood clots based on how it infects the blood. It causes blood clots. It creates a lot of crap in your blood system. That's what gives you clot. A vaccine does not give you clots. I'm not saying that it's not possible for any vaccine or something else to give some reaction between somebody a clot, but just doing nothing as well can give a clot. The reason I'm addressing this, Eric Hayes, is because that ridiculous, putting that ridiculous link in here can have people get themselves killed. And you sharing that information makes you complicit in killing people. Remember that, Brother Hayes. You are complicit by spreading information that I am telling you is wrong. So anybody who reads your link and then believe that because it came from Eric Hayes, I am going to refrain from doing something that will save my life, you are complicit in their possible death. Remember that. All right, Melanie Keelan says 7 hours ahead of Central Time. That's what I thought. 7 hours. You go, girl. All right, Eric Hayes says, Egberto, are you mad at Bezos' ex-wife billionaire now? Philanthropist Mackenzie Scott has done it again. Collaborative for Children announced on Wednesday that Scott has donated $3 million to the Houston-based nonprofit dedicated to early childhood. She placed a phone call directly to my CEO saying, the Mackenzie Scott I'd like to help, said Chase Murphy. I love that Mackenzie is giving away the money that her husband stole from the population at large. I am happy. It is like Robin Hood, right? They stole some money and then she's giving it away to people that needs it. By the way, the coffee, not the coffee party, but one of the organizations associated with the coffee party doing good political work attempted to get funded by McKinsey's group. McKinsey has a group that gives away the billions that she actually got from her husband, Jeff Bezos, who pretty much legally stole it from America. She went ahead and she is using, we went and applied for some of the grants that they had, and it was denied because it didn't meet a particular criteria. So what happens is after these people, through the capitalist domain, removes the money out of the economy legally but unfairly, they then decide who is worthy of getting that cash. Remember that. It's not a democracy. We have allowed certain people to be able to amass wealth, and then they decide, not democratically, they decide who they are going to allow to benefit from the resources they've collected from all of us. Remember that. But again, it takes critical thinking to get to that understanding. Critical thinking to get to that understanding. And too many of us have allowed the right wing to prevent us from being able to critically think, or we put ourselves in a particular manner so that we stop critically thinking. So my dear brother Hayes, I suggest after you put statements like that out, then after listening to what we discuss here as a composite in this group, that you start to critically think. All right, let's move on. E224 says, AVQ, I probably don't got nothing relevant to add. I do trust your day is going well. I always trust and implore that all our days go well. We can do that many a times. What the heck is Trendy Matters? Unknown website? Okay, so Penn Life. You know why? Let me tell you what's the problem. Microsoft promoted that link on their web page. You know, their aspirator looks for keywords. And I saw it this morning. It got aspirated on just about every cell phone on the market who uses, I forgot the name of the aggregator, but it got absorbed and then it got masked appeal. So, I mean, it's interesting that we got all of that. But my God, Eric Hayes will be responsible ultimately by repeating the crap that we have instructed him is false. He will cause the death of we don't know how many people, whoever decide to follow that link that he started to promote himself. Conspiracy crap. Michael Rudnan says, a wild Jamie Foxx COVID vaccine conspiracy took over social media. There's no evidence to back it up. It doesn't take much to go. You remember what we talk about critical thinking? That is what Michael Rudnan just did there. He said, this stuff just doesn't seem right. So instead of just promoting it and killing other people by promoting it, I will go ahead and do some research so that I will not be responsible. Rudnan will not be responsible for killing my fellow man, which is what Eric Hayes has decided to do. Promote something that that goes with some of the right-wing crap he hears that he is amenable to listening to. And the reason I'm getting upset with this particular one is we're talking about people's lives here. We're talking about people's lives, and hearing that Michael J. Fox may have taken a vaccine and got a stroke, you have materially changed the minds of those who are marginally unread. Or I should say marginally read. So thank you for looking up that immediately, Michael Rudnin. You have done your service to society by ensuring that you immediately refuted the crap on the screen that our good brother Eric Hayes decided to allow a feeble-minded antic to put out there. My God, don't you guys understand how these things can affect people's lives? My God, pobre. Para la pendejada, hombre. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Melanie Keelan says, it's a nice way to end the day. Well, thank you, Melanie. I love you, girl. Eric Hayes says, poll workers reported it all so that it's documented information. No, it's not documented information. And the poll workers are, anyway. Bruce Pollard says, discounts build customer loyalty. Now you can crow about the budget bill. There we go. It's funny because my buddy, who used to be at MSNBC and he formed his own, he created TYT. Can't remember his name right now. But he's really pooping on the bill. He really thinks the Democrats got a bad deal. I completely disagree with Cenk Uygur. That's his name, Cenk Uygur. I completely disagree with him on this one, and I think the numbers speak for themselves. Yes, if the Democrats are at the high end and the Republicans are at the low end, and after you mix both of them, you are just below the Democrats' number and closer to the Democrats' number than you are to the Republican numbers, then the person who has won that battle is the person whose the number is closest to. So I think we on the left have to understand that given that we didn't win the House, we did not win the House because of gerrymandering, etc., because we haven't done the necessary work to ensure a supermajority to ensure we win the House, we had to compromise or we blow up the economy. You could say use the 14th Amendment, but the 14th Amendment, there are issues that were unknown, and Biden did the responsible thing. He is responsible for making sure to keep things steady. I'm not a Biden fan, but I'm also a pragmatist. So Cenk Uygur, I love you, brother, but on this one, you're wrong, and I don't think you should be promoting a video like that. Even AOC, while she attacks what was done, as far as what Republicans did, she understood that this was a compromise, and she not only understood that, she's pointed that if her vote was needed to prevent a collapse of the economy, she would have done the responsible thing. That's the difference between grown-ups and kids. Difference between grown-ups and kids, between pragmatics and otherwise. Michael Rodden says, Egberto, man, you are paying attention to social media a heck of a lot better than I am. No, what happens, Rodden, is I have an aggregator called, my aggregator is called, let me get it for you, because I scanned through a whole lot of stuff. Look, you guys support me for one reason and one reason only. Well, I hope you like me. I hope you like me. But you also support me to kind of know stuff, right? And not only that, to even give you a teaser. There are many things, Rodnin, that I know about. I don't know about it in detail. And I would talk about it here, and somebody like you or Bridge or Bruce or somebody would go ahead and look it up in more detail and throw a link here that's been verified here. That is how composite learning works. But you guys, I put out a whole lot of stuff because I read a lot of stuff. I aggregate something with a tool called Feedly. I use Feedly and several other aggregators to pop stories up of all that occurs throughout the internet, right? Because people are seeing it from different angles. Like Eric sees a lot of right-wing stuff that I see as well, because I want to know the crap that goes in to really destroy the minds of many on the far right, and to some extent, many on the far left, because we talk about somebody like Kennedy who's out there pushing this anti-vax stuff, getting people killed. You know, I have a lot of folks that are saying, "Oh, well, you should interview Kennedy." Also, you interviewed Marilyn Williamson. Why didn't you interview Kennedy? Well, I got the Kennedy info, or I could get the Kennedy info, but I really don't want to give Kennedy a platform on this tool because I think Kennedy is causing the death of people. Because he has a good name, and he'll use that good name to hurt people. So I'm not going to have Kennedy on my show. I won't have Kennedy on this show. All right, Lee Grant says, hey y'all, en vivo here for sure. Estás en vivo, mi hermano. ¿Cómo estás? Mi hermano conservativo, my conservative brother. Michael Rudnin to Eric says, let's see. Eric says, you are pooping on things, and you have a Kingwood resident that died within hours of getting vaccinated, and he did not have COVID. And again, it's not my daughter would look at a statement like, my daughter is not as kind as I am when it comes to when people don't understand science. Correlation has nothing to do with certainty. You can't correlation doesn't mean there's a word, correlation versus I don't remember what the word is. We were just Ashley and I was just talking about that yesterday. Correlation versus she's going to remind me sometime. But anyway, good afternoon, Maywood. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Melanie Keelan says, just fine. Long weekend. Last weekend were regional elections. Right won hard. Yeah, I heard about the right winning in Spain. But please, let's remember one thing, Melanie Keelan. The right wing in Spain that won is nothing like the right wing in the United States. The right wing in Spain is still fairly socialist in the policies they have for healthcare and these other things. Many don't know that. Okay. Bruce Pollard says, maybe on 17 million, still too bad, but that was then, and it might have saved lives. Let's see. Houston Chronicle News, Houston article counted close to 17 million medical shelter. Yeah, I have to read that. Okay. Eric says, but Bezos helped them get a win in 2020. Now you poop on him. Bezos didn't do a darn thing to help Democrats win. That is a myth that you've read, but your myth is wrong. Michael says, I'd be happy about Mackenzie Scott after she pays her proper share of taxes. Any philanthropy on top of that is gravy. Independent. Mackenzie Scott's billionaire philanthropy proves we need a proper taxation system. There would be less need for big, generous donations if governments got it right in the first place. Thank you, Brother Rudnin. Those are the things that Americans have to do. We don't need the good-natured rich person because that rich person has gotten rich off of what we did. Thank you for bringing that up, Rudnin, and find that article as well. E247 ABQ, I held off on air conditioner until last weekend. I feel so guilty using it. What I did, let me tell you, I have 2 floors, and since we were empty nesters for the longest time, and a lot of family that would come from overseas, etc., to come, we don't have a lot of that anymore. So what I do is I keep the air conditioner on the upstairs off, which means all the rooms that aren't used are hot. And then I got 2 portables, one for the studio and one for Ashley's room now that Ashley is back in the house. And that way I don't have to run the big unit and take a lot of electricity. The only bad thing is coming upstairs and getting to the office is a bit warmer than coming into the office. And I keep the air conditioner off when I'm not in the office. But let's remember there are different ways all of us can save energy before we make the plunge and wait for for a more equitable distribution of solar cells, etc. Welcome aboard, LB. I load the fright wing. They're so scared of minorities. Yes, they are. All right, Michael Ronan says, MSN has been promoting crap all right. Melanie Keelan says, here we can get by calling with ceiling fans. Haven't even turned them on yet. Great temperature. I think that the Mediterranean is pretty cool, right? Wait, is that where are you? Barcelona, Spain? Yeah, I think so, right? And you have river. Well, anyway, better temperature than here. Lee Grant says, some folks are concerned about accumulation of spike COVID, spike protein, the expression of the mRNA vaccine. Just saying. Look. The spike protein, and I'm not an expert, but what they wanted to do is find an identifiable piece of that particular disease, particular virus that they can identify and hold on to and kill. Of course, you have to make sure that a spike that looks like that isn't necessarily in something that's important in your body. That's why they have all these tests, because we can't see all the formations of all the different types of viruses, etc., that's in your body. And something that you generate in your body may simulate a spike, and a vaccine get rid of it or causes the body to attack that spike. So, I mean, that's the science of vaccine, and I am not an expert on that, but that's the science of vaccine and what it does. That instead of people trying to say, let's learn to expand on the vaccine as opposed to just dogging the vaccine, it's bewildering to me, but what can I say? All right, let's see what else we got here before I go to the first video. We have here, Michael says, Egberto, what saddens me is that both social media and some news aggregators promote nonsense sites. People need to take 5 minutes to fact check, but that's just too much to ask to be bothered. And that's why, in as much as Eric did a very wrong in posting that link without being corroborated, there are many others who are going to link to that MSN site and click on that link. And the thousands of folks that are going to see this particular edition will hear what I had to say to Eric Hayes. And not only that, they will get to see that Rudnin found a link that just makes hell out of that link that claims somehow the guy got a clot from the vaccine. What's his name again? You know who I'm talking about. Anyhow. All right, let's see what else we got here. What else have we got before I continue? Michael Ronan says, first, E2247 says, Melanie, elections going right one hard is a global problem. It's everywhere. It's mixed, though, E2247, because while I think it just went right in either Peru or Ecuador, I think it was Peru, we went left in Brazil, which is about the size of most of the rest of South America, and it went very well left in a couple other countries that I was reading. So we have a problem in, I think, Chile, where they're rewriting the constitution, and after the left won and they didn't get their constitution passed, the right won, and now they are writing the constitution. But again, if they go overboard, that constitution won't get passed with the environmental rights. If that's not there, the water rights, etc., it's not there, it'll be an issue. All right, let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP is in the house. She says, hey, peeps. Michael Rodden says, hey, Egberto, I'd have to agree with you on not having RFK Jr. on your show. If you have a choice to interview someone who's known for promoting conspiracy theories, having them on will only damage your channel's brand. And that's why I won't have somebody, I always say I want to hear all sides, right? But there's a limit when that side is going to cause irreparable harm, like death. I can't justify doing that. Deb Denny, I love you, girl. Causation versus, no, I forgot the other word. Causation versus correlation. Why do I have such, and Bruce came out with it as well. Why do I have such smart listeners? You guys are too damn smart. Thank you. That's what I was trying to get. Causation versus correlation. Sometimes causation and correlation agrees. Sometimes they're not so much. Okay. Lee Grant says right wing in Italy is cool too via Meloni. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Eric K says portables. Can you share what you got trying to keep one room cool? Portables. Sure. I got the brand called. It's called DeLonghi. DLONGHI. Let me write it down for you, Eric. It's called DeLonghi. That's a brand I got. I got me two DeLonghis, one for Ashley and one for me, and it was for a 500 square foot room. That's what I got it for. Now, sometimes because this room has horrendous insulation, plus all the computers give off a lot of heat, so it's not the best. But DeLonghi is a brand that I bought. I bought it last year. I bought Ashley's this year as she moved, I bought hers this year. She moved back home last year. You remember, she's recovering from the stroke. Did you have to put, no, what I did is it has a little a little sliver that you just put into the window so that you don't have a unit sticking out. You know in Kingwood you can't do that. But you can put that thing that looks like a window into your window, and it blows the air out. I'll take a picture and send it to you after the show. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Para ver. Yes, as soon will F up Brazil soon. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Great U.S. empires refuse to let person get justice anywhere. I hear you, buddy. What else have we got here? Okay, I think we're ready now for the first video. It took me 34 minutes to go through. No, actually, I started at 4. It took me about 30 minutes to go through all that you guys had to talk about, but you all will always come first. This one is for Eric. This one is for Eric. Everybody, Eric has been talking about, many have been talking about how bad the Biden economy was or is, right? And eventually the jobs are just going to stop coming and the wage increases are just going to stop. But it's not happening. It's not quite happening. And you know why? Because we have proven once again, supply side economics doesn't work. Keynesian economics does. The problem we have now is that Keynesian economics with laissez-faire capitalism, where folks can raise prices at will, needs to be mitigated. But as far as jobs, as far as people working, Keynesian economics continue to work. The amount of money being spent, the necessary money being spent, it's not enough yet. We need to spend more actually. But the necessary money being spent is placed into the right hands. Placed into the right hands create demand. That demand means you need more jobs. That demand needing more jobs mean you need more supply. And then that is how it works. So check it out, then we'll take it on the other side.
Defying all predictions, this morning's new jobs report shows many more jobs than expected were added in May, and it points to an overall strength in the job market in spite of inflation and rising interest rates. NBC Business and Data reporter Brian Chung is here to break it all down for us. Well, the markets seem to like it. I think they're up somewhere between 600 and 700 points right now. What is in this report that stands out to you?
Yeah, well, it tells us that the economy is still chugging along, but one economist that I heard from this morning said he was confused and even alarmed by some of the things that he saw in this report. Let me explain. So first of all, the headline number, 339,000 jobs. That's how many were added in the month of May. That was a faster pace than the April adds of 294,000. And this, by the way, was above what Wall Street had expected. But interestingly, the unemployment rate actually went up to 3.7% compared to 3.4% in the month prior. And the reason for that is because these numbers come from two different surveys. This comes from a survey of employers. This comes from a survey of average people. So that might explain some of the discrepancy, although we're wondering why could there be such a big gap between those things. Economists will have to figure that out. But when we unpack this either way, we saw broad-based gains across many different types of industries. Professional and business services up 64,000, leisure and hospitality adding 48,000, and then retail trade, think of jobs at the mall, adding about 12,000 jobs in the month, Chris.
Okay, how could it impact the Fed's upcoming meeting on interest rates, or might it not impact it at all?
Yeah, well, the expectation is that with the jobs market still looking very strong, maybe it makes them actually think about another interest rate hike, which would not end the cycle of brutal interest rate hikes that we've already seen over the last year or so. So for what it's worth, the Federal Reserve watching this number right here, 4.3%. That's the increase in average hourly earnings. That sounds okay year over year, but when you consider that inflation right now, 4.9%. That's how much more expensive things are at the store compared to this time a year ago. So wages going up, inflation still high. The Fed wants to get those things closer into balance, Chris.
So there you go. For all of those who were, oh, the Biden economy is so bad. Well, if you remember that song, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. If Biden's economy is wrong, I don't want to be right. Remember that. If Biden's economy is wrong, I don't want to be right. By the way, I want to make Biden's economy even better. And how do I make it better? We have better programs that makes it easier for people to have equal access to success. Now, Eric Hayes put something in the chat that I want to talk about. It wasn't on my agenda, but I want to talk about this. Let's check this out. I want you guys to listen to this very, very well now. Okay? Eric says, and it's important. You know, I've been talking about there's a glut on the market of oil, etc., etc., etc. Here's the deal. Eric says, why isn't oil reserves being replaced? Let's stop. The oil reserve, the national oil reserve for the United States, which is all over Louisiana and a few other states, where we just throw oil that we mined in other locations right back into the ground, into caves, salt mines, etc. Why would we need to immediately replace that oil in reserve at high prices when, listen well, folks, when we already have the oil being stored in the ground? The biggest, and this is where I talk about critical thinking and people not thinking, all right? Let's clear a few things up right now. The government buys oil from the oil companies. Listen well, people. I want you to listen because I want you to see how corporate welfare works. The federal government, in order to fill the strategic reserve, it buys the oil that is in reserve in our ground already, right? The oil is in the ground. America at this point is oil self-sufficient, meaning in America, we produce more oil than we consume. And where is that oil? In reserve in the ground. How does corporate welfare work? We have the private companies drill on public land oil that belongs to all of us. They drill it, they take it out, the federal government buys it and throws it into the ground again. Transfer of wealth from all of us to the oil companies. Whenever Biden or whichever president then opens that oil reserve for use, the oil companies buy that oil at market prices and yet makes another profit on that oil as it processes it into gasoline, diesel, kerosene, and everything else. So what you find is filling the oil reserve with the oil that belongs to all Americans, that we all pay the private companies to mine and put into another hole. And then when they do need it because we don't have a supply balance, they buy it from the government and then they add a price on it to sell it to us as finished products. I am telling you, when you look at the fraud that is the private sector and the oil companies, etc., and we don't see it because we are not made to see it. We just took it as a matter of fact. But when you start thinking about these things, you start about, oh my God, oh my God, they are ripping us off. And you are paying for the money that all those fat cat executives get that we all just give our monies to. Remember, why do you need to, if you are self-sufficient in oil, why do you need to take it out of the ground in Colorado, in the ground in Wyoming, all the ground that belongs to federal lands? Take it out of the ground and then throw it into another ground. Throw it into the ground again. Pipe it to Texas. Pipe it to Louisiana. Throw it into the ground again. All you need to do is keep all those wells with the pipelines, keep those wells tapped until you need the oil. And when you need the oil, you pump the damn oil. Right now we prove we can pump more oil than we actually use on a daily basis. So therefore we can turn the baby off. And that way we don't double dip. I'm glad that I am glad that Bridge MCP saw the double dipping in it. I've seen this stuff for decades. For decades. But we accept it because we hear, okay, fill in the Federal Reserve. We make believe like something is happening. It's not. It's just a ripoff. It's just a ripoff. Paul Fleming says, no president has ever kept all their promises. That's true. What else have we got here? Let me scroll up because I think I missed some things. Let's see. Daniel Edo says, what is the value of statements saying you won't have Kennedy on your show when we all know there is no shot he'll ever want or agree to be on PDR? Really? You must not have known all the people that not only that I know that I've interviewed on PDR. You know, who do you think has a higher rating, Kennedy or Marianne Williamson, which I had on the show? Who do you think has a higher rating than all the other politicians that I've had on the show? Come on, Daniel Ledo, dream on. You just doesn't know how this system works. But I can understand your un poquito de tu desficidad. I understand. It's okay. It's okay. Let's see. Melanie Keelan said, ask Egberto anything tomorrow at 11 Central. Yes. Thank you for reminding me, Mademoiselle Keelan. Let me go ahead and pull that one out. For you. I think I think Rudnin probably just wants me to bring the guy on, right? But I won't, Rudnin. You're not going to con me into bringing him on. Here we go. Ask Egberto anything. Please sign up for it. Tomorrow at 11 Central. It's going to be noon Eastern, of course, 10 Pacific, Mountain. And let's see, what is it? 10 and of course 9 Pacific. So please go ahead and consider doing that. All right, let's go ahead and bring on, I think this is Brother Ray. Brother Ray, you are on the air. Talk to me.
Hey, Egberto. Happy Friday, mi hermano.
Feliz viernes, hermano.
Yes, sir.
That's Happy Friday in Spanish.
Oh, yes, I understand. I know a little bit of Spanglish.
Talk to me, my brother.
Yes, brother. What's on my mind today is, since I've been listening to your audio book, which is well crafted, by the way, I can't get off my mind, how much Ronald Reagan really screwed us over,
Oh, yes.
And for anybody who has problems with the Biden economy, you got to just look back at the Reagan economy because, it's all about these trickle-down economics and things happening with the oil companies. And, one thing I wanted to ask is, all the issues we have economically are because we have a pretty much like a stranglehold on democracy. So my solution to that is we need to deregulate democracy. In other words, you got something to say? I want to let you in.
No, you are absolutely right about Reagan. And, my brother, I don't know if you got my book called As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. I did an objective analysis of starting with Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. And it's amazing how the media even today covers Carter versus Reagan versus Clinton. You would think that Clinton wasn't the person that balanced the budget, a Democratic president. You would think that Clinton wasn't the one who had the highest level of employment until, of course, Biden. I mean, all these things you wouldn't know even listening to the media today. And I think it's a calculated move by them not wanting Americans to know what policies actually work. Because if Americans realize that Keynesian economics works and not supply side economics, we wouldn't have the disparities that we have today. If they realized that, a lot would change, and it would affect those people that are paying the bills at all these different radio stations, television stations, etc. But, Brother Ray, that is why we are here. That is why we have, even as, like I said, I had a little disagreement with Shenk Yukur Ungar. I don't know how to say his name right. But even as I disagree.
Yuger,
Yuger. Yeah,
Tell me
Young
what
Turks.
that was about. Because I used to watch them a lot before I started watching you.
Yeah, I like Shank and his crew. Okay, I meet them at Netroots, and a couple of, if you take a look at the videos that I did at Netroots, Jenk is what Rudin says pronounced. If you take a look at my Netroots video, you'll see there are a couple of years that they were on Radio Row. They were right next to me, you know. So I like those guys, but sometimes I think too many of us on the left can't say when somebody that's either moderate or even on the right does something good. And from my point of view, I am for the average American citizen. For if somebody on the right does something that propels the well-being of somebody, of the whoever, I am going to be touting it. So if you're a right winger and you do something good, I will mention the something good that you do. And if you're a middle guy and does it,
clock is right twice a day.
You're right about that, brother. You're right about that. But I think that is what we have to do, right? I think that's what we have to do. So, but anyway, what else you want to tell me, my brother Ray? It's great hearing. Let me tell you, I cherish calls, right? And you don't know how excited I get. Like when you call into the show and you have something to say about the show, it excites me. Because again, I just love hearing, not only from, I love the people in the chat. I love you guys in the chat. But every now and then when somebody calls in, you know, at KPFT in the mornings, we get several calls. I like when people call in, and I want to get this show with more people calling. Like Bruce is one of the guys that said, hey, Egberto, get the call in working again. And I did it, and Bruce hasn't been calling in. So Bruce, I'm holding that against you. But thank you, Ray, for calling. Anything else you want to say, my brother?
No, my brother, just be safe and happy this weekend. It's supposed to be some bad weather, I understand. It's a little cloudy, and I'll keep tuning in. I just remembered to hit that like button today.
I appreciate that, brother. You have a great day, and I don't know. I may come on. There's a few things that may make me come on live for short periods of time this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, thank you, my brother. You have a great rest of your day. Okay.
All right. Take care.
All right. I have another video I want you guys to see. This one is a racial video that Joya and Reid did last night. But you have to see this because it shows you how revisionist history comes about. I want you guys to check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Hearings on Capitol Hill sometimes include, let's just say, odd moments. But yesterday, we saw something just straight up bizarre during a hearing of the Senate's Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, when one Republican senator decided to go after a children's book.
I have a book here in front of me called Our Skin that has been endorsed by NACI. And I'm going to read exactly what this book says. You guys might find it interesting. A long time ago, way before you were born, a group of white people made up an idea called race. They sorted people by skin color and said that white people were better, smarter, prettier, and they deserved more than everybody else. This would be taught if we socialize our pre-K system. This would be taught.
Do you disagree with that findings in the book?
1,000%. How about we teach Jesus loves me? How about this? In teaching Jesus loves the little children, the lyrics go, red and yellow, black and white, they're all precious in our sight. Someone point at me that this being a truth, that white people developed race, that white people developed that all of a sudden that was our word that we developed.
This shouty gentleman demanding to know whether it's better to teach Jesus loves me or a Christian children's song, or Our Skin, a first conversation about race, which is a children's book about race, is Mark Wayne Mullen, a former cage fighter turned Republican senator from Oklahoma, who I should note claims Cherokee heritage and pointed that out in the hearing. It was kind of a dumb question, though, right? I mean, you wouldn't teach a Jesus song in a public elementary school because, well, it's not Sunday school. It's not church. It's a school. And there are likely kids in that school who aren't Christian, don't know who Jesus is, and don't care. And their parents, who might be Buddhist or Jewish or Muslim or atheist, etc., have a right to not have their kids' teachers preach the Jesus to them. But the other reason why what the senator said is dumb is that the scary book that he waved around is correct on the facts. Allow me to quote the historians from the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture right here in the nation's capital. Quote, before the mid-1600s, there is no evidence that the English referred to themselves as being white people. This concept did not occur until 1613, when the English society first encountered and contrasted themselves against the East Indians through their colonial pursuits. Even then, there was not a large body of people who considered themselves white, as we know the term today. From about the 1550s to 1600, white was exclusively used to describe elite English women because the whiteness of their skin signaled that they were persons of a high social class who did not go outside to labor. However, the term white did not refer to elite English men because the idea that men did not leave their homes to work could signal that they were lazy, sick, or unproductive. European colonists' use of the word white to refer to people who looked like themselves grew to become entangled with the word race and slave in the American colonies in the mid-1660s. These elites created races of savage Indians, subhuman Africans, and white men. The social inventions succeeded in uniting the white colonists, dispossessing and marginalizing native people, and permanently enslaving most African-descended people for generations, unquote. So the answer to your silly question, Senator, the book best used, the book that's best to use if you want to talk to kids about race is the actual book about race that's grounded in historical fact. Because trust me, kids know that race is a thing. But feel free to sing the Jesus song to your kids at home.
Yeah, if you want to sing the Jesus song to your kid, please feel free to do it. But don't try to deny history. You know, the biggest problem is, I think, with those people that don't want to don't want history taught to them, is that they want to take it personally. Look, I don't know what my forefathers, whomever they are, and by the way, just about every black person in America is mixed with a whole lot of stuff, okay? Just as I am. So my forefathers are many, okay? But of course, for those presenting what they call presenting black, I don't know what those forefathers have all done. You don't personalize this stuff. What you do is you learn from what folks have done and you make sure not to repeat the mistakes of your forefathers. That's all one can do. You can't be blamed for what your forefathers have done, but it can be let known that a lot of the privilege you have, a lot of the assets you have was on the backs of others. You can learn that as a reality, and you can accept that as a reality. Okay? Jules Ray, my buddy says, you know, as a man once said, a hit dog will holler, and he sound pretty in his feelings about the entire book. Let's see what else we got here. Word picture by using detail and example. So Joanne Reid is a known rabid racist. No, she's not. I mean, by you calling her that doesn't make it that. All of her buddies who know her better would look and say, you must know something we don't, you know. But what can I say? Generally, like I said, too often when you hear people on the right say certain things, just put a mirror up onto them, because what they're doing in general is describing themselves. Anyway, folks, don't forget to visit us at Ask Egberto. Anything tomorrow at 11 Central, 12 Eastern, 10 Mountain, 9 Pacific. It's at politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto. politicsdoneright.com/Ask Egberto. Please, please, please support our trip to Chicago, Netroots Nation. We haven't had any donors recently. I would love to get a few donors. If you have a few to support our trip to Chicago, we're going to be covering all of the politicians and everybody else there. And let me put on the screen what you get for supporting the program. I know I've told many of you that before, but stick with me here. Anybody who joins the program will be considered and placed on the scroll at the end of the videos. You will be a producer supporter of that video. I'll be doing between 25 to 50 videos. 25 to 50 videos, okay? Egberto Willie's deck almost finished, but might not make it. You better finish that deck. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I want to see some more pictures. You sent me some stuff that you did outside before. Anyway, folks, so everybody who supports us, I'm probably going to do between 25 and 50 videos. It'll all have you guys listed who support the program. All donors will also, the first 20 donors will get a copy of, the first 20 of 35 or more would get a copy of It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Friends and Neighbors, a signed copy, along with a bumper sticker, the Politics and Right bumper sticker. Donors who give $100 will get everything the other donors get, as well as they will get a page on the website with whatever they want to do, charity, whatever you want to do, you'll get a page on the website. And $200 donors get everything the others get, as well as an embroidered polo shirt with the Politics and Right sign on it, as well as the, what else do you get again? The books, everything. Anyhow, so please go ahead and click on the link. Politics Done Right, become a sponsor on the link that I gave out there, and you can become a producer, supporter of our videos that are going to be coming out. And of course, you'd have many other links, etc., that we'll provide to all our listeners. Anyway, don't forget as well, folks, to support our program. There are many ways to support Politics Done Right. You can support us through PayPal. There is a politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us by becoming one of our patrons. politicsdoneright.com/patrons. We are in need of many patrons. I'll probably send out a link this week asking folks to become patrons. We're going to add another tier to our patrons, a $1 tier. In other words, give us $1. Support us for $1 a month or something like that to try to absorb everybody that we can. Who doesn't want to commit $5 or who don't want to do that? That's what we're going to do as well. Because again, we want people engaged as much as possible. If you are on YouTube right now, click that join button, become a part of the PDR posse on YouTube. And that's another way of supporting us. Or go to politicsdoneright.com/Facebook. Another way to support us as well. Shop at our store, politicsdoneright.com/store. A lot of stuff there to support. And what else is there? Anyway, the one link that has all the different manners in which you can support us is at politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willis. I want to thank you so kindly for spending this time with us. I could not do this. We could not do this without you all. Again, my name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willis. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to hear your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we own allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBRTOWILLIS. That is at Egberto Willis. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.